I was supposed to make a video exactly 6 months later from the first video, but because of a certain event, I have to prioritize those first. Anyway, my goal was to be able to understand Korean movie and Japanese anime, but the irony is during the 6 months studying both language at the same time, I only really watched like 2 episodes of both Korean and Japanese anime. So it's like in total 60 minutes on anime and 2 hours on Korean movie. Yeah, so I can certainly say that I failed, but let's go over what I did in the last 6 months to learn from it. So of course, the first thing I do is I research about the material or the resources. I try to make everything free, but there will be certain material like book, manga, and Netflix subscription that cannot really be free, especially on book because there are a lot of good books to learn language that you have to pay. I don't think you can get it for free, but I don't really know. I'm not trying to yet because I don't really care about book that much. For the free material that I find, there is a lot of different sites to learn Japanese for free, which is really good. But for Korean, there is one site that I find is probably the biggest, which is Talk to Me in Korean. But for beginner, I don't think it's a good site because their free material was just basically grammar point, and you don't really need grammar when you're starting out. I don't know why I keep focused on studying grammar on Japanese and Korean for the whole 3 months when I know that grammar doesn't do anything. Like when I studying English, I still don't even know what grammar is until this day. And yet, for some reason, I keep wasting my time on grammar in other language. So yeah, after that, I stop focus on grammar and I move on to movie, which is the main point or the main goal. And it's quite enjoyable, but what I did is not what you think. So every time there is a new line, I have to pause the movie to write down the subtitle and try to guess the line with the context of the movie. And after doing so for 10 to 20 minutes, I would go back and watch it again, but with English subtitle to write down that English subtitle to match the Korean or Japanese subtitle. At first, it was quite frustrating, but the more I do, the more I kind of enjoy it. Like you get used to it. Because I want to prioritize Japanese for really no reason, I bought one manga and one book, like a huge one, very costly one. I regret it every day. And I try to translate those possibly every day, but of course, for the app on my phone, I get memrise for Korean, anki for both, and from time to time there is free Japanese book reading site for beginner that I try to read from time to time. So in the first month that of starting out, I was 2 to 3 hours for both language, and you can guess it that it burned out extremely quick. 1 month, like really in just that 1 month, I was so done with just wasting 3 hours a day to study it. So of course I have to reduce the time to like an hour and a half for both language, and of course it's still hard. After 3 months, I was burned out because I don't feel like I'm getting any result. However, at that point, I do realize that it took me like 5 to 6 years to be able to do well in English. So I think it's all come down to having a proper schedule and timeline to be able to progress in language learning. So yeah, instead of doing 2 languages at the same time, which is the challenge, but I realized that it is impossible for me to do so. Probably because you should just focus on one language at a time. You know, it's not like you're getting paid to studying 2 languages at the same time. So it doesn't really motivate you, or you don't have to, study both languages at the same time. So yeah, just prioritize one language, which is what I think that I should have done in the first place. But anyway, because I don't have any motivation to do both language, I move on to one, and I also got burned out with a lot of other things in my life, so I stopped studying for like 2 weeks. But after that, I do try to slowly build up a schedule to study one language per day, 45 minutes of studying, and try to review whenever I can, like in toilet, before I go to bed, while I cook, and try to cycle like movie, Japanese book, and just cycle those things. Around early October, Google decided to make the worst thing ever. They changed their photo translated app, which make the worst photo translate experience ever. Because of that, I kind of feel like I'm not making any progress translating word from word in the book. Of course, it could just be not having enough time yet into translating a book and all that stuff, but it is a very time consuming process. It could take like half an hour to an hour extra after studying just to translate like one paragraph, because I have to translate from the kanji and to hiragana and then to English. But still, I try and keep up with it. 5 months in, I learned very little to none in both language. Now I could probably remember like 7 days in a week for both language, but that's it. Did you know that suyoi mean Wednesday in Korean and suiyobi mean Wednesday in Japanese? But yeah, I do learn some extra thing, but I just feel like I don't make any progress much in the last 6 months. Like, I don't know. I don't remember how much I learned in English for 6 months. But then again, like, I don't really care about learning English at that when I was young. So I don't know, probably just don't care about how much progress you make and just study. So in the last month, I see that, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to complete the challenge, probably because I don't really input that much. That is why I'm having a hard time trying to understand movie and anime, which is ironic because I haven't watched much in the last 5 months. So I decided to just listen to anime and Korean show clip on YouTube, of course with English subtitle, but I just listen. I don't really watch it to try to understand the line in the clip. But yeah, I don't understand anything. So like for Japanese, from time to time I do understand, but it's like one sentence in every 3 minutes in a 8-minute video. So yeah, it's not that much. For Korean, it's even worse. I cannot understand or even read a sentence. Maybe from time to time I recognize one word, but I get the meaning of that word wrong. So conclusion, I didn't study long enough and doesn't have a structured study system. That is why I feel like I'm not progressing that much in studying languages. In my opinion, and a lot of YouTubers I watch about language learning, you can self-study, but it's gonna be hard. Well, most self-study things are hard, but here are the things that I learned after 6 months of studying 2 languages at the same time. Studying what you like, but try to focus on one language. Fill your head with that language even before you study, so you can watch movie, news, and shows in that language, but you can have the subtitle on. Grammar can wait for later. For faster progress, try active recall with flashcard. When you study with movie, try to guess the word using the context without the subtitle that you can understand. Of course, note down everything if you can. Repetition in speaking and review help. And finally, it takes time. For some people, very short. For a lot of people, very long. I do not plan to stop studying both language because I do want to study both language not at the same time, but I do want to be able to speak and understand these 2 languages. It's gonna take a lot of time, but it's not like I have money to travel to Japan or Korea anyway. So yeah, that is all for this video. I hope you learned something from me. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.